Lyle Lyle Crocodile is a 2022 film starring Constance Wu, Shawn Mendes, Xavier Bardem, Winslow Fegley, and Brett Gelman, who plays a character named Mr. Grumps who's equally as grumpy. And the only way I know him is through Stranger Things, as he is the conspiracy character whose name escapes me. But he's in this movie too, which I think is hilarious. The movie opens up with a struggling magician. He is laughed off stage, his jokes are treated as outdated, his performance is lackluster. He needs to find something to reinvigorate his career, and fast. He is becoming the laughing stock of the world. He's literally at his lowest of the low. So, being all sad that he can no longer perform like he wants to, because clearly he's a passionate magician. He goes over to a pet store in hopes of finding a unique friend to maybe lighten up his acts, and he finds this in Lyle the crocodile. Lyle is a small and very cute crocodile at this point in the film. He doesn't know how to talk, but he does know how to sing, which immediately captures Hector's attention. He immediately falls in love with Lyle and decides to adopt him and take him home. Him and Lyle sing together and have a great time. And finally, it's time for Hector and Lyle to do the big performance. And when they get on stage and they're supposed to sing their big duet, Lyle chokes. He freezes up. He gets himself a terrible case of stage fright. This is Hector's lowest point. He was set up for success, and essentially Lyle pretty much ruined it. But Hector could never tell Lyle that. So Hector decided to leave Lyle by himself in his big house with nothing but an iPod and some headphones. He tells Lyle that he'll be back, but he has to go for a while. He needs to find a way for them to make money and to reinvigorate his name. Now I know that Hector was simply leaving to go and find another thing to reinvigorate his career, to try to get big again. But I mean, the dude literally left his pet crocodile, his friend as he claimed, in his own house for God knows how long. This could have been years. I think it was a year. Like, he left him in his house for a year, and like, that's kind of mean to do. I mean, I know he's an animal, probably doesn't have a lot of intelligence, but we see other crocodiles in this movie, and they're primitive monsters. But Lyle here is different. He's intelligent. He has feelings, which I guess makes that even more mean. But he never means to do this. He's kind of an asshole sometimes. But, you know, he gets better throughout the film. But God, that's so mean. So, a significant time has passed. Lyle is now fully grown, and he just hangs out in the attic. We get to the family who move into Hector's house. Now, again, significant time has passed because Lyle is now fully grown, and this house seems to have been left vacant for quite a long time since there are now new people moving in. But this new family moves in, and things are happy. The neighbor, Mr. Grump, played by the guy from Stranger Things, he is quite a piece of work. Mr. Grump is, well, just that. He's a grumpy man. He's a grump. And he's just kind of an asshole. His whole character is that he's just mean-spirited. He's a nasty dude. He pretty much hates on this family whenever he can. And that's all you need to really know. So they move into this house. Everything's happy. And then the first few nights at the house, Josh can actually hear something upstairs. It sounds like faint singing and stomping around. And this is actually, obviously, Lyle just hanging around upstairs in the attic, which is basically where he lives. Josh becomes acquainted with Mr. Grump's cat, a white, kind of fancy looking cat, and he leaves water out or milk out by his windowsill for this cat specifically. Even though earlier Mr. Grump was like, "Do not touch my cat. It's a very rare breed, and it eats special foods, whatever." He does it anyway. The cat's actually pretty nice, unlike Mr. Grump, who's an asshole and just a nasty, wasty stunk. Um, but there that is. Obviously, he hears more noises upstairs, so he decides to actually go investigate, and he sees Lyle, and at first thinks that he's just a mannequin. He looks stuffed, and he's pretending to be stuffed anyway, so he goes back downstairs, but then at the following night, he hears it again, so he goes back upstairs. Lyle's actually missing from his case. This is where it's revealed that Lyle's actually alive and a real crocodile. He accidentally eats the cat and then runs away. Obviously, Josh chases him because this is Mr. Grump's, prize cat, right? So he chases Lyle across the city, across rooftops and alleyways and stuff. And then Josh actually gets, at least looks like he's about to get mugged by some homeless people. Lyle comes over and looks like a monster. He comes in and he roars at the homeless people who shit themselves basically and leave in horror. And then Lyle actually regurgitates that cat. And it's like, I mean, yeah, I know it's a kid's movie, but I mean, crocodiles are naturally carnivorous. Guy's gotta be hungry if he's sitting up in the attic and going out at night and just eating garbage. I mean, the guy probably wants some fresh meat. Okay, let's not get into the dark reality of the situation. This is a kid's movie, and it should be treated as such. And it doesn't take long for the kid's mother to discover the crocodile upstairs taking a bath and singing a little song. Now, originally, the kid's mother is horrified. Constance Wu's character screams and runs downstairs, Lyle chasing after her, trying to explain in his own little way that he's not a threat, he's not dangerous, and he just wants to be friends. And this leads to an awesome musical number where Lyle and Constance Wu's character literally bake cakes and pastries together and have a great time singing with one another. And everything is good. She realizes that Lyle is actually not a threat, and everything is all right. She constantly draws him, which I think is a great nod to the original children's book series, because she actually draws Lyle in the same style that the original illustrator drew Lyle for the original children's books. When the dad finally comes home from work, Lyle greets him, much to the dad's obvious horror. It's a crocodile. And behind him actually comes Javier. He's returned from his big trip for several months, leaving his crocodile up in this house alone. And Lyle comes down the stairs, hugs him and licks him, and he's really happy that he's back. And basically, Javier moves in with his family. And there is paperwork that states that he's allowed to just show up and live here for a month out of every year. So basically, they all become friends. And lastly, Lyle actually connects with the kid's dad via his love of wrestling. They have a big wrestle up in the attic, and Lyle actually wins, and everything's pretty cool. And so everybody's friends now. Lyle has basically become a member of the family. They all have fun together, and they play together, they sing and dance together, and everything is really cool. However, this annoys Mr. Grump downstairs. Mr. Stranger Things man downstairs does not like it, so he calls a meeting, an intervention if you will, to basically get rid of Lyle, because Lyle is ruining everything. He's making too much noise, and so Javier decides to get involved as well because Lyle belongs to him. And they agree on the unfortunate idea of sending Lyle to the zoo, as this will make Mr. Grump happy and everything will be okay. Everything after this point becomes just unbearably depressing. Lyle has essentially become part of the family, and without him, life continues, but the family doesn't even feel like they have any life or substance anymore. Lyle brought so much fun and excitement to their lives that now continuing on without him is boring. So, after this heartbreak that lasts for seemingly multiple months, Javier, aka Hector, actually talks to Josh, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go and make things right. I haven't always been there for Lyle, and I understand that. I have to make things right, and I have to go to that zoo, and I have to get him back. You're welcome to join. Obviously, Josh is still very angry at Hector for his decision, but eventually comes around and comes over to the zoo to actually help Hector break Lyle out of prison. And Lyle is just very miserable. He's sad. He feels like Josh and Hector betrayed him. And he's literally willing to let the other crocodiles that are in the zoo with him kill Hector until Hector finally admits that he was wrong and he should never have tried to change Lyle. That he's sorry and he knows he hasn't always been the best kind of person, but he's willing to let that be fixed and that he actually belongs with the family, with Josh and his family. That's where he lives, and they would take better care of him than he would. Immediately after the crocodiles are about to attack and kill Hector, Lyle literally roars at them and literally forces them into hiding to protect Hector. They go back home, and Hector tells Lyle again that he's sorry and that he'll never force him to do anything again. So everything is good, and they get into court basically because Mr. Grump's like, Lyle's not allowed to be in the house. But then Hector comes up with the saving grace stating that, oh, I actually have a paper that states that my house can actually house any exotic creature. And the court dude, the judge, is like, okay, this is actually legit, so I have no choice but to say that Lyle is a protected species and belongs to this family. Obviously, Mr. Grump is pissed, but he can't do anything. It's settled in court. Lyle, the family, and Hector live happily ever after. And that's the end of the movie. It's a great movie. It's a fun little kids movie, and it's a crocodile. Pretty cool animal. Lizards are awesome. So I really enjoyed this movie. Shawn Mendes as Lyle was awesome, and I like the idea that Lyle can't actually talk, and the only way he can talk is through song, which gives his character more of an emotional pull. But with that being said, let me know what you guys thought about Lyle Crocodile. I thought this was a great kids movie. Thought it was fun and it was cute. And let me know again if you guys have actually read the books or if you know about the books. Let me know how different they are compared to the actual film, because that's a pretty interesting thing just on itself. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. Do take care and have a great night. I'll see you in the next video.